for instance. I call up a supplier, and you see that the supplier record is composed of many fields. We have a code, a name key and a supplier name, and company information, contact information, address information, city, phone, fax, and other things, and parameters like the standard delivery period for that supplier, supplier type, the country where he sits, and if you want, we can also add statistical information if it is needed. We have alternate address fields, we have financial information where you can exactly see how much money you spent with the supplier over the past years. We have notes that pop up in various actions in LIBERO, and we have an invoice summary where we can see all the invoice numbers for a supplier, and if they have been approved and paid, we would also see the date information, the approval, and finalization information on top of it. As we have no idea if you would be interested in processing your invoices in LIBERO, we will just have a short glimpse at the invoice transactions screen. You enter a supplier number, select an invoice number, and you see detailed information about all the orders that are tied to an invoice. You see the calculated allocation for the invoice, the approved amount, invoice notes if notes exist, and you can see detailed information about everything that has to do with the invoice. You see the total amount, you see the order line total, you see additional costs which might be freight and handling. You could also see VAT if it is applicable. You would see an invoice status if it is still open or if it has been paid, and you can say payment methods and the final payment date if the invoice has been finalized and paid. Other interesting options are, for instance, the order claims maintenance, where you can select the relevant claim code and then see what titles have been claimed with what claim number at what date. Or you could get an overview of the pending supplier orders by entering the supplier code, and then you will see all the open orders for that supplier, and with double click in one line you could get to the well-known order screen where you can adjust the data, for instance the next claim date, if you want to. Now that we talked a lot about cataloging, purchase and tech delivery, we should take a closer look at an item record and then move on to the circulation functionality within LIBERO. The item records. We execute a cataloging search and move to the stock options screen. This is the short item information as we produce it when we take delivery of an item, but with a double click we can get to the item holding maintenance screen. And on the item holding maintenance screen you can see further details. For instance, you can see that there are several branch codes for one item. There is an owner branch, there is a current branch, and there is a branch that purchased an item. All these three branch codes will play a role when it comes to stock circulation, to item rotation, when the items travel through various locations or branches. On the item holding screen we see again information from the orders and tech delivery, and there are additional fields that can be used, for instance the inventory number, or statistical fields that can then be evaluated via statistical reports within LIBERO or with the help of crystal reports. What functionality is available within the circulation module of LIBERO? Of course there is member maintenance, issues and returns, but on top of that we have the management of holds and reservations, and we have an access to the cataloging module which demonstrates the integration of all LIBERO modules quite well. Let's start with the member maintenance. before we can issue a book, we have to have a member record to which we can issue something. Each member who wants to borrow something from the library must have a member record within LIBERO. To create such a member record, the member search screen pops up to make sure that you check that you do not create a duplicate record. Let's suppose our new member is called Harry Smith. I do a search for Smith and see there is no Harry Smith, so I will create a new member record. As we had with the barcodes before, there are various methods to enter a member code. This can either be entered manually, or you can enter these by using a barcode scanner, or you can make the system allocate a member code. Then start entering additional details. For instance, form of address, and the surname, and the given name. When you tap out of the given name, the name key will be created automatically by LIBERO. Select the appropriate radio button for the sex and start entering the address. For each member you can lay down several address informations, the postal address, the residential address, and an alternate address. If it's about kids below a certain age, you can even add a guarantor address, and of course on top of the mail addresses you can have an email address as well. And one of the addresses can be flagged as the address to use for printing. The join date is automatically inserted, and the date of birth is not really a mandatory field, but you should actually seek to fill it out, because the birth date will always be the initial password for all the self-service functionalities in the web OPAC. Locality comes out of your parameters and will be used for statistical reasons if you need to. The branch information comes out of your parameters as well and will definitely have influence on the loan policy that applies for this specific user, as well as the member category, which can be either normal member or staff or university staff or whatever, coming out of your parameters as well. You might wish to fill the phone number fields as well. There are various fields, one for home phone, one for mobile phone, and one for business phone and one for fax, but all of these are not mandatory fields. After entering all the information, you can save the new member record. The record has been updated, you click on OK, and according to your parameters, some fees might already be added to the member account. Now we have a member record and can take a look at the issues and returns functionality. We will start with the issues.